Look, man, I would say overall the 49ers get the best out of Jared Goff. And it's very telling how Dan Campbell, in one of his victory speeches about 2 weeks ago when they played the Rams, right? Dan Campbell said, hey, you might not be good in LA, but you're great for Detroit. Look, it's very difficult to root against the Lions just because you can say it's a Cinderella story. They've for the majority of Detroit's franchise, it's a losing franchise, right? But I feel like people forget that for almost a decade plus, they have always had a top 10 draft pick. All right. To that point, they've ruined a lot of amazing players' career. Okay. Now it's very interesting if you look at it from that perspective, because they did have Calvin Johnson, they did have Ndamukong Kongsu, they had Barry Sanders, Matthew Stafford, Javed Best. They had a lot of great players come out of Detroit, right? And Cat Williams said something very interesting. He goes, we cannot let losers rewrite history. I wonder what Howard Zinn has to say about that when he made People's History of the United States and he got the other's perspective. Look, man, I don't know where this love came for Detroit Lions. I don't know where they're going. I don't know how you can root for them over the Niners just because of Dan Campbell. And what I mean by that, it's pretty simple. I thought America loved winners, right? So I don't know why you would root necessarily against the Chiefs and the 49ers. Yo, truly Trey, y'all was a little late. Yeah, man. I was fixing up and editing a few other projects before I wanted to go on live here relatively short. So I apologize, man. I know I always put it on a timer for 6 p.m. and I never pop off on time, which is really interesting. It's just I'm never late in real life, just when it comes down to the lives. But yeah, man, I apologize for that. But how can you root against the Chiefs and the Niners? 2019, that was a really good Super Bowl. Niners were up 20-10. Chiefs come back and they beat us 30-20, right? I'm not saying that the Ravens or the Detroit Lions don't deserve to go to the Super Bowl. And I don't know where this notion comes from that that's the Super Bowl the people want to see. If that was the case, then the people or all these franchises, they should have gone after Lamar Jackson when he was offering his services before the Ravens got him, right? The Ravens didn't even want to have Lamar Jackson, right? Or else they wouldn't have let him shop other markets. So shame on you, Carolina Panthers. Shame on you, Atlanta Falcons. Because look, everybody wants a Peyton Manning. Everybody wants a Patrick Mahomes. But understand this, Chicago, you can win with Justin Fields. You can win with, you don't have to have those quarterbacks to go to the Super Bowl. You can win with a Justin Fields. You can win with Lamar Jackson. Okay? So what I want to say is this. If everybody was a fan of Lamar Jackson, especially owners as well, I don't know why y'all would be necessarily rooting for Lamar. Y'all weren't rooting for him to offer him a contract so he can be your face of the organization. For that matter, Baltimore didn't either. They were trying to, undercut his pay. Detroit, they ruined so many careers. They ruined Matthew Stafford's time in there, and they booed him and his family when he went back there. See, Detroit fans, they're horrible. They're not good fans. They have no class, right? And, I don't want to, push them and throw them over the curve, but they don't deserve to win. Their owners don't deserve to win because they're a losing organization. They ruined so many careers. Calvin Johnson, Matthew Stafford, and Ndamukong Kongsu, they gave you a lot of great years, and you guys couldn't get the job done with them, let alone compete. You guys went 0-20 one season. It's horrible. Look, man, as for the Niners, it's kind of easy to root for them. You know why? Because they have a history of winning. And they do it, and they're very innovative. Okay? They're very innovative. throughout their history. They have a history of winning, their significance, everything. And guess what? And I hate to repeat myself because I talked about Brock Purdy, but I don't know where this hate and slander comes from to throw Brock Purdy and act like he's a bum and hate on Brock Purdy. Like, man, this kid was chosen last. Okay. Remember, if you're chosen last in recess when you're playing football, okay, that means you're the worst player. The Niners even chose him last, but at least they chose him, right? And all of a sudden, people don't want to give him the credit that he's a good quarterback. You see, Jared Goff, he's a first rounder. Patrick Mahomes is a first rounder. Lamar Jackson is a first rounder. Brock Purdy is mystery relevant. Look, no disrespect to Deebo Samuel, but he's not a great wide receiver. He doesn't run great routes. People call him a halfback or a wide receiver / running back. Brandon Ayuk, he's a good wide receiver. All right, he's a very good wide receiver. Maybe top 30. I mean, is he better than Jamar Chase, Stephon Diggs? Is he better than all of those players? I don't think so. He's definitely not top 10. Probably not top 15. Maybe top 30. I don't know if he's better than DJ Moore, right? Is he better than DeAndre Hopkins in Tennessee? I don't think so. George Kittle, right? I mean, Kyle uses him more for blocking than to go out there and catch routes. I mean, George Kittle is amazing. Christian McCaffrey is amazing. So it's very interesting to me how people want to root against and throw as if Brock Purdy as if he has an amazing cast. Kyle Shanahan is a better offensive coordinator than he is a head coach. Okay. And you guys got to remember this. He blew a 28-3 lead. I was extremely, maybe I'm being harsh, but I was really annoyed with Jed York when he parted ways with Jim Harbaugh, Vic Fangio, and Greg Roman. And we went like 5 years sucking until we got Kyle Shanahan back in 2017 or so. And Kyle, because I was like, man, how are you going to get a dude that just blew a 28-3 lead? I understand it's about going to the Super Bowl, right? But I was like, I wasn't a big fan of that. You see? It's one of those things that is like, could we get Jim Harbaugh back to be the head coach? And would Kyle demote himself to be only an offensive coordinator and bring back Vic Fangio? Like, is that too crazy to ask? I mean, I know just in life, if you were to get demoted, right, and we get up, a pay reduction, most of people would not stay at that job, right? But in the scheme of things, if you're trying to win championships, which is one of the reasons in football you're in there for, especially when you have that money, it's about solidifying and creating history. This is why I don't like Detroit, obviously as a Niner fan, but like, no, man. Just like their fans booed Matthew Stafford, one of probably the best QB that they've had in that history, right? They booed him. And that's what his wife said. I mean, they booed his children, supposedly. I don't know if that's true. Okay. And why would you root for Jared Goff? It's not like the Detroit Lions are an island of misfit toys and they finally got it together. Absolutely not. Again, I just told you for like the past 20 years, they've had a top 10 draft pick. And Brock Purdy is the last pick of the draft. Look, man, it's kind of like if you were trying to root for the Carolina Panthers. Why would you root for Carolina Panthers? They have a shit owner. They got rid of their best wide receiver, DJ Moore. They got rid of an amazing running back in Christian McCaffrey. Why would you be a Carolina Panther fan? Obviously, the owner, A, doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. B, has no loyalty to the players. And C, doesn't care about the fans. I mean, if he's throwing beer or water at them, why would you root for them? That's exactly like rooting for Detroit. It's exactly like rooting for them. Why would you do that? Detroit's got a badass cast of players. They got amazing players. From corners to Hutchinson to Amon St. Brown. two top badass running backs in David Montgomery and the guy that they got from Gibbs from Alabama, I believe. They got an amazing nucleus of players, right? And Dan Campbell, look, bro, Dan Campbell is amazing. That dude, excuse me, let me bring it back. Gotta go to present screen share. But anyway, man. So I don't know how people would root against the Niners for Detroit. It just doesn't make sense. Um, you know, doesn't make why you would root for Lamar Jackson and the Ravens when you guys don't even like the Ravens. And then it goes like this. A lot of people be like, well, we just don't like Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. Why? Why not? Aren't they winners? Don't people love to associate themselves with winners in real life? Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback in the history of the NFL. He's greater than Tom Brady. Okay, he's better than Tom Brady. Tom Brady could never do what Patrick Mahomes can do. Okay, when the Buccaneers beat Patrick Mahomes with his two best offensive linemen injured, right? I was seeing this dude making baseball Derek Jeter throws and hitting Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce in their helmets. Tom Brady could not even scramble out and do a simple a rollout. He just couldn't. All right. Don't get me wrong. I love Tom Brady. He's the second best QB behind Patrick Mahomes. That's just a fact. Now I know he's got 7 Super Bowls, and look, I grew up watching Tom Brady for the majority of their life. That dude is clutch. But you think if Patrick Mahomes had Randy Moss, you think Patrick Mahomes is getting beat by Eli Manning? No. You know why? In 2007 in the Super Bowl when there were a perfect season, he's not losing to Eli Manning. No, because Patrick Mahomes can escape and roll out. He's got great legs. Michael Strahan, Usi Umenyiora, Justin Tuck would have a hard time finding Patrick Mahomes. You give Patrick Mahomes, Randy Moss, Julian Edelman? Come on, bro. What are we talking about here? Tom Brady he's a beast, man. I love the memories. And I was truly appreciative what him and Peyton Manning were able to give us during that time. It was the Colts versus the Patriots rivalry. It was a beautiful time to be alive. It was a beautiful time to witness. I love winning. I'm a Niner fan. I don't want to root for Tom Brady and the Patriots, but guess what? I like rooting for teams that give us top tier quality. You get what I'm saying? They're quality. You know, when you go to the store and you buy something, you buy the best that you can afford. You go for quality, right? It's very rare for somebody to go get trash and then make it something better. Okay, there's a few people out there in the world that do that stuff. They usually go for the best things. Okay, so I don't know where this hatred comes from of the Chiefs, because if you're Tom Brady, if you're the New England Patriots, or you're a Patriot fan, I can understand. You're like, man, I don't want Mahomes at age 28 to break Tom Brady's records. I don't know if he's going to do it, but I'll tell you this. He's the only one in 6 seasons, kind of like Brady, to go to 6 straight AFC championship games. That's pretty fucking amazing. It's amazing. And he's doing it essentially with great players. I will give you that. I'll grant you Travis Kelce is really good. But it's not like Tom Brady didn't have, 2 amazing tight ends and Aaron Hernandez, Rob Gronkowski. He always had great players, right? And just together, they got things done in a very unique way. Patrick Mahomes is the best, man. And I hate to say it because I'm a Niners fan, and he beat my team that I root for in 2019. But that's just reality, bro. You can't hate on studs. You just can't hate. You just respect it, tip your hat off, and just be like, I'm going to punch you in the mouth next time we play. That's it. You got to chop it up to the game. That's part of life. So I don't know where this infatuation comes from of all these people. I understand why the Rams fans, Seattle Seahawks fans, Oakland Raider fans, they would root against the Niners because, like I said, those dudes are fucking bums. Those organizations are bums. Come on. If you're a Raider fan in this day and age, to be honest with you, if you're a Raider fan in this day and age, if you're a California resident rooting for the Raiders, knowing that they left to a different state, I don't even know how you can still be a fan. The organization and the ownership were clearly not, they didn't even have you guys in consideration. You know, like go get another team, bro. Like that's the way I would look at it, man. Like if, for example, if San Francisco, right, they left to Santa Clara, that was like, wow, why are you gonna even do that? But at least they stayed in California. If the Niners were to leave California and let's say go to I don't know, Wyoming, I'm not gonna be a Niner fan. I'm like, fuck y'all. Y'all didn't show me the loyalty that I gave my faithful years to you guys. What the fuck? What are we talking about here? Anyway, man, maybe I'm just like getting a little, going around the bush and all over the place, but I'm just venting. Anyway, shout out to you, truly, Trey. Y'all was a little late. Lions got it. Been saying it since they beat the Chiefs in week 1. Were you saying that when they got beat by the Packers and they were down 21-7 on Thanksgiving? They had an amazing scheme. Yeah, they sure did. Truly, Trey goes, best player on the 49ers is Trent Williams. I agree. I love Trent Williams. I thought he should have been the most valuable player, I want to say last year. I thought he's great. But the best player on that team is Christian McCaffrey, man. Trent Williams is always getting hurt. Obviously, he's like over 300 pounds. He's like in his 40th season. The dude's a stud, but Christian McCaffrey is the best player on the Niners team. The biggest problems historically with the Lions have been the ownership. They've always valued ticket sales over winning. They just started doing well when Sheila Ford Hamp took over. Yeah, that's a really good point, and I agree. Truly Trey goes down and says, even with Matthew Stafford was there, they didn't surround him with enough talent. They decided to hit the reset button by giving him the keys of the franchise to Goff because Stafford was in win mode now. Yeah, I agree. They did make that trade, but it's not like they didn't get nothing out of return. They got probably a couple of first-round draft picks, an extra first-round draft picks for Matthew Stafford. I think it was 2, and Jared Goff. So, and that's the reason why Dan Campbell was able to turn that franchise around, because just like you guys been having the past 20 years, a top 10 pick every single year. That's how horrible you guys have been, But the Lions and the Niners have really good history against one another. Even looking back at when Jim Harbaugh and Jim Shorts were there, I think both teams were undefeated. And Jim Harbaugh has that iconic boom smack in the back. And Jim Shorts was following Jim Harbaugh out the tunnel. It was hilarious, man. You had Brandon Pettigrew, number 87, their tight end, and Vernon Davis, 85. Just no, that was great, man. I'm excited for it. Look, I will give this to Detroit, man. Even as a Niner fan, I can understand why people would root for them, but it's just hold on. Let me dive back a little bit. Yeah, the smack in the back was funny as fuck. One of the funniest things I've ever seen. Probably the funniest shit that I've seen in terms of a post-fight interaction between the coaches. I thought that was that has so many replay value. In fact, I'm gonna pull it up right now and I'll show it. But I guess the thumbnail was CJ Gardner-Johnson and Deebo Samuel. These guys were talking smack. So I want to just state that Deebo Samuel has got to play in this game. He has to play in this game. There's no way he can sit out. And the reason I say this is because Deebo Samuel needs to pop CJ Gardner in his mouth. Boom! You just got to truck him a few times. Okay, he's got to truck him because Detroit, they're coming. And they're playing with a lot of inspiration. They're playing with a lot of heart. And this is going to be a 12th round fight. All right? There ain't going away. And Deebo needs to play in this game because, we can say the Niners got lucky and the rain was a big factor and the Niners don't play good in the rain, right? But if it doesn't rain on Sunday, we're going to need that physicality that Deebo brings because he puts everybody at ease. If he breaks one tackle or two, it inspires everybody around him to block and play at the end of the whistle. When he's not there, Brock Purdy, he panics, man. He panics. And Deebo he has a very calm physical demeanor about him. And it's really nice to watch him play football. He's one of those. He has that mentality of what Mike Singletary was trying to do back in those 2008 years with the Niners when he told Vernon Davis to leave the field and he was building men. Deebo has that play style. Now, to be honest with you, I'm not a big fan of Deebo Samuel. I remember the little fuckery things that he was doing when he wanted a contract extension just for playing one great season, right? It was during the his all-pro year. He wanted a fat-ass contract, in which he did. But I don't forget that he deleted all his Niner posts off his social media. Some childlike shit. Like, for example, if this company that I work for, they gave me 10 great years of amazing things and they fired me tomorrow, I'm not gonna, be disgruntled and be like, man, fuck y'all, man, how can you do this to me? I give you 10 good years. No, I'm gonna be like, you know what? Thank you for 10 good years. And then I move it on. But no, I'm not gonna delete and spew a bunch of nonsense on social media or delete every association that I had with a team just because I want to get paid. It's fucking crazy. Like, bro, that's part of your life. So when Deebo did that on his social media page and deleted all those, associations and pictures and memories that he had in San Francisco, I was like, fuck you. I still feel like that to this day. So that's why I'm gonna be hard on Deebo. And you got to play this fucking NFC Championship game because you bitched out against the Green Bay Packers. Well, you don't think Christian McCaffrey wasn't hurt? You don't think Trent Williams at 40 years old, they're hurt? A lot of players are hurt. And now I'm not too sure what's going on with his shoulder. In fact, everyone's kind of keeping the information really close to their chest. But if you're good enough to root on the field, I've seen Matthew Stafford get injured, come back, take a shot of adrenaline or whatever's, painkiller, and boom, throw a dime touchdown while his fucking collarbone is dislocated or something. It happens, man. It's just football. It's just championship football. But anyway, that's just the way I feel about Deebo Samuel and company. Salute to you, Vince Vargas. He goes, I like Dan Campbell quotes. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you have one ass cheek and 3 toes. I'll beat your ass. Yeah, no, man. Look, Dan, yeah, dude. He's fucking badass, bro. I'm not even going to lie. I can't even fake the funk. That dude's amazing. And the rest of the world would agree to that. He is amazing. He's a great coach. He's a coach that you can play for. He's a coach that inspires you to play with a lot of heart. And he gives you the confidence that you need when the going gets tough. You feel like this dude always has your back. You know what I mean? And he's a guy that will always talk good about you. And bro, Dan is a man's man, bro. That dude, Detroit got a great player, a coach. Because man, they're not many like Dan Campbell's. You know what I'm saying? He reminds me of Jim Harbaugh. Jim Harbaugh when he wore his khaki pants, and he was always I would always listen to his press conferences, post and pre, because he's always quoting some type of book. I don't know if it was Ernest Hemingway. He just had an originality sense to him, a feel of authentic. It's like you felt like you belonged in that locker room. Same thing with Dan Campbell, So I understand why you guys would root for him, because you want him to win. Shit, I want him to win. Like, as a Niner fan, if we lose to Detroit, I'm okay with it, because at least it wasn't the Dallas Cowboys and their fan base. Like, bro. Truly Trey goes, it's either going to be a close one by the Lions or a blowout by the 49ers. I agree, man. I would say this. What the fuck are these guys doing, bro? Am I about to get ran up on right now? Uh-oh. Look, guys, I'll probably talk to you guys later. Something pretty interesting is happening here at work. Yo, shout out to you guys, man. Have a good night. Whoop.